Well, good evening, everyone. Hi, this is Christine Crowell here, and welcome to my channel. And today we are going to be discussing Peru. This is an amazing gold mine, but it's got some hidden treasures as well. And there's a bit of secrecy that's happening as well. So I'm going to go into this video today, and I'm going to travel to Peru. So I hope that you'll be able to join me. Now, Peru is a hidden gold empire, and the mine, it also has lost Incan treasure. Yes, it really does. Now, part of this 10-part series, the world's wealthiest gold mines and also silver mines are hidden fortunes that are untapped riches. So today we're going to focus on this mine in Peru. I'm just going to drink my tea, just bear with me, sorry. Now, this mine in Peru, it is global silver status. It's got hidden gold myths, it's got environmental conflict and wealth. And imagine, we're on like day 7 of the 10-part series of the YouTube live series that I've been doing. And I've been covering the world's wealthiest gold and silver mines and the hidden fortunes of these untapped riches. We've traveled across the continent from South Africa to Australia, Russia to US, and tonight we're going to enter into the mountains of the Latin America to uncover Peru, the gold power. So what is the focus for today is one of the largest focus is that I want to talk about this because there is some controversial mines in America sitting on the land of the rich with gold, silver and mystery. But that's not all. We all dive into I want us all to really look at all the different types of mines that are around the world. And, you know, we're into investing gold and silver. If you are interested in investing in gold and silver, stocks, etc. So why not know where your gold or silver could be coming from, for example? So I'm going to be diving into the legend of the lost Incan treasure and whether there's truth to the stories that have been uncovered about this gold that's hidden in the Indies. So stay with me to the end because I'm going to go into some silver prices and gold prices, for example, as well. So let's start with the numbers behind this massive mine. The location is in northern Peru and it's operated by Newmont Corporation and also Ventura, for example. So one of the largest open pit gold mines in Latin America. It has over 36 million ounces of gold and it's been extracted since really 1990. So it's still operational today through the output, but it is declining. So the reserves are dropping, for example. So I just want to give you some fun fact here. At its peak, they produced over 3 million ounces per year. Isn't that amazing? So it is also to it also is rich in copper and silver, making it a multi-metal powerhouse. So, do you know that one of the world's largest gold mines is in the Andes? Did you know that? Maybe you do, for example. Drop a comment and say yes, you do, for example. So, Peru, the Silver King. Whilst Peru is known for gold, it actually leads the world in something even shinier. Number 1 is silver producing country in the world. So over 100 million ounces annually supplies global electronics, batteries, solar panels, and mints as well, and not the ones that you eat. So still, it is home to an ancient silver vein used by the Incas. Yet, despite this, Peru faces economic instability. And it also has a resource conflict. So, should Peru be richer based on its natural resources, or is it something holding it back? I'd love to know your comments, what you think about it. So the Incas and the lost gold legend. Now let's go even deeper, shall we? Into the mystery that fuels documentaries and treasure hunts. The Spanish have believed that the Incas has hidden gold in the caves, the rivers, and the sacred mountains. Some legends say a golden city is still exists, according to some legends, and it's untouched and buried in the Andes. Imagine the Jewel of the Nine, the movie, for example. They explore, don't they, to look for treasure. So explorers still search for the Incan treasure, for example. Now, what they're doing is they're going near the mining zones, like the Cusco mining zone. So could the mountains around the Yanacocha hide not just reserves, but the secrets? Do you believe that there is lost gold in Incan and it's still out there today? What do you think? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. So let's zoom in to the real conflict surrounding this mine. It's been the center of protest over water pollution and land use, conflicts with indigenous farmers and local communities, opposition to the Congo expansion project in 2010, and its struggles over royalties, taxes, and fair compensation. Many locals fear that mining has damaged the sacred land and poisoned the water. Yet others say it's boosted the economy and provided thousands of jobs. This is a double-edged sword. And the sword is of the mining, so it's money versus land. What is more important? Land, would you say, or would you say the money, for example? So there's more gold left in the Andes, for example. Some geologicalists believe that there's still untapped gold in Peru's mountains. So there's new satellite data shows undiscovered reserves near the old Incan sites. Small-scale miners often report gold veins just outside of the official zones. The Andes could still hide millions of ounces waiting to be discovered. So if Peru managed and refined its gold like Russia and Australia, it could become a gold-backed nation. If you could search anywhere in the world for gold, would you pick Peru? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. So let's really think about some of the things in terms of investment wise. So Peru, it does have a gold crisis, and today what I want to talk about is how to protect your retirement, for example. So gold and silver investors. Now, although there's Peru mines that was reported at a 60% drop in production and hidden in the news, it could be a good opportunity. Now, I always say I am not a financial advisor, okay? And you should always seek professional advice from a legal advisor, a financial advisor, for example. What I talk about here is things that I've been experimenting with and looking at, for example, researching. And I've really been looking at this since really 2007, gold and silver, for example. And we did have our own gold and silver scrap gold party, for example, which was the rage back then, for example. So I turned scrap gold and silver into gold bars or silver bars, for example. It was refined by a company in the UK, in London, one of the most wealthiest areas that you could ever imagine, for example. And that's where I used to have the gold and silver, smelted down with the refinery. But there are massive opportunities for your retirement account. Now, some of you may have 10 years to go, okay, for your retirement. And I'm really looking at how the retirement payments are going to be in that time frame, for example. It seems as if we're going to lose some of the retirement that we thought that we was going to get fully, for example. So I want you to look at this. What is your retirement account? Because I'll also be giving away a free guide as well. And it also reveals about how you can speak with a financial advisor, have a sit down, talk with a financial advisor about whether you should move some of your 401k into gold tax-free, for example. Because we need to start thinking about what is our pension going to actually be on that particular day. And there are graphs out there. There's calculators that will tell you what it's likely to be, for example, in the time that you want to retire. So keep watching, because I'm going to really go into the gold and silver market, for example. So let me ask you a question though. When did you last check your retirement account? Does it feel like your money is shrinking, or is inflation stealing 7% per year? Banks are paying very small interest, and stock markets are roller coasting. We're seeing this. But here's what nobody is telling you. there are some stocks out there which is to do with silver mines or gold mines, and like I said, please seek legal advice, seek financial advice, because I am not a financial advisor. I'm just talking to you about what I'm currently looking at the moment, for example. Now, imagine that there's also, because I've been in healthcare now for 35 years, as you know, my own businesses, I've been through 3 recessions, and I believe this is the 4th recession, even though they haven't literally come out and said you're in a recession, even though we are. You know, that's just how I see it as. So I've been through 4 recessions in my lifetime. So I've gone through some crashes, I've gone through difficulties, I've gone through a lot in my life, for example. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at what my pension amount is going to be when it's time for me to draw my pension, for example, because I'm nearly 60 in a couple of months, for example. So even though I'm not going to be retiring, I still want to know what I'm going to get, you know, in 10 years' time, for example. So explore for yourselves to see what your pension amount is likely to be when it comes time to you drawing your pension. So this is why I'm looking at there's stocks in healthcare, for example, because I'm trying to stick with things that are a long-term plan, not something that's going to give me loads of money at once, something that is steady. And, you know, when it comes time to my retirement, then I will have a decent amount to live on, for example, rather than just living on a basic pension, for example. So, like I said, there's healthcare stocks, there's also mining stocks. Warren Buffett, he invested in a company who was a mine, which is Barrick Gold, I believe, for example, or services, for example. Warren Buffett also brought 3,500 tons of silver as well. He looks at a 30-year cycle, and believe you me, I am starting to watch him like a hawk. I am. And I've read, if you haven't read that book, The Snowball Effect, Warren Buffett, it's amazing. It really, truly is. It's a very big book, but it's still worth its read. So, if you don't have physical gold and silver, I always say you're best to have physical gold and silver, because people around the world, banks, our governments, for example, family offices, for example, businesses, they've actually got physical gold or silver, and I would highly suggest that you have the physical gold and silver, because you know what you've got is what you're going to get, you know. And when you're dealing with paper, you don't know what that actually is and when it's going to be available, because it is being lent out to other sources, just like yourself, for example. So just like with the UK, the Reserve, London Reserve, for example, that has been, you know, America has asked for its gold and its silver. So it's being drained for its gold and silver, and it hasn't arrived yet. As far as I know, maybe it has arrived, but it's been taking months for it to arrive, for example. So everybody's wanting their gold back in their own country, so that they've got that as a monetary system, rather than relying on the dollar or the pound, for example. They're thinking about, hey, look, let's get back to basics. Let's look at these gold and silver coins. Let's look at making this a monetary exchange rather than the cash, because the cash is devaluing, it's going down. So you got to think about your pension if you are looking at a pension, or maybe you want to save for a house, or you want to save for university, for example, to give to a loved one. You know, people, they're saving every single month, and they're doing it. They've got it like a 10-year plan. You know, this isn't a quick, fast, get-rich-quick scheme. You go for the low-risk things that are going to keep you as safe as possible. Because yes, sometimes it's going to go up and down, but then it will even itself out again, then you're back up again, for example. Because, you know, April the 2nd, tariffs are going to be, you know, chucked to everybody, and we don't know what the effects are going to be. We could see that the stock market prices drop in certain aspects, you know, of products, a lot of products, but there'll be some which will be not hit, for example, and those are the safer bets, for example. So I'm just getting you thinking about things so that when you do seek legal advice or do your own research. I do my own research. You know, I do my own research because at the end of the day, you do have to pay a financial advisor, for example, and they take a percentage of what it is that you want to save, for example. I'm fascinated by this because I know that for me, all these years, money has been a weakness for me, and I'm making it my strength now to know what it is that I want to invest in, because I have invested in stock before and I lost quite a bit quite quickly, and I just couldn't rest because I was constantly watching the screen to see if it was going up and down, up and down. It was stressful. So, you know, for me, I like the safe, slow. I'm like the tortoise, right? I'm not the hare. I am literally the tortoise, and I like to go slow and slow. And if it takes me a long time, I know I'm going to get there. Rather than running and tripping and then I'm losing things, and, you know, it's just not, it's not good for your health, should I say. So let me ask you, check your retirement account. Find out what your retirement is going to be when it's time for you to retire, because you need to look at building some sort of plan to beat inflation, because inflation is stealing money from you. 7% per year. And the interest that you get from the bank really isn't much. The stock markets are a roller coaster, like I said, but here's what nobody is telling you. Silver mines, you can look at what stocks are available in silver mines, because silver is becoming so much needed because of all of this industrial, it's like we've gone back in time again. Manufacturing and industrial is now becoming the thing. Now they need the silver to produce the electric vehicles, for example, to produce the renewable energy, to produce the solar panels, to produce the like Apple products, the tech products, to produce the healthcare products as well, you know, the medical equipment. The list is on and on and on why silver is needed. And because of the the law that's going to come out where we can only drive electric cars, that's going to drive up the more need for silver, as well as AI, the chips, the data centers, for example, that's going to require a lot of silver. So this silver is going to be really prominent and needed, for example. So check out what mines, see if there's any silver mines that you can find out about. And this is why I'm doing this 10-part series, to really, awaken you to look at that aspect. Because some people, they've got portfolios and they're fixated in one direction, for example. But if you want to expand your portfolio and, with an exit strategy, for example, then why not look at these different aspects that are a lot more safer than the high risk ones? Okay, so just think about this. Silver is very strong, but having it in your hands, gold and silver, is the safest bet. And what I'm noticing is that people are actually storing their gold and silver actually on their land somewhere, for example. And there's this this tube thing that you can put your gold and silver in, for example. It goes into the ground. I forgot the name of the item. I'm going to find it because I was reading about it anyway, about a month ago. And you can put your items in there, for example, but don't tell anybody that that's where you keep your stuff, because obviously you're going to leave yourself open to people taking your gold and silver, for example. It's like in the old days, people used to put money in their mattresses. They'd cut a hole in the mattress, keep shoving money in there, stitch it back up again. It seems like we're getting back to some of that as well. But check it out. Whether you're planning for a wedding in 10 years' time, because weddings aren't cheap today, for example, a wedding and a honeymoon, or a holiday of a lifetime before you retire. Imagine you travel around the world, for a whole year before you retire. Wouldn't that be lovely? Just to get to say, I traveled the world and I had enough money to pay for things and had a really nice time. Whatever it is that you want to save for, you've got to have a plan of why you're doing it, because that's going to be your driving force. Because, sometimes you're going to think, I could do with this, that, or the other. But always have in mind what the end goal is, for example. And I'm not saying to deprive yourself of anything, because, you shouldn't really do that. But think, is this working towards my goal? Is this in alignment with my future self, for example? Okay, so what I want to talk to you about is some of I've got a guide here, which I believe the link is in the description, and there is some gold IRA companies, and there's some that reject 58% of the applicants. So you can speak with your financial advisor, and you can also have a read up on things first, so that you know what it is you're going to be talking about and what you're thinking about and what do you think would be the best option, for example. But you can also do your research as well. So there are some forms that can help you with your taxes as well. But the number one thing I say is to buy silver coins. Gold is now 3,000 per ounce, which, you know, is quite high, for example, but with a silver coin, for example, $35, for example, you know, start buying, you know, at least one a month, for example, because you don't know, because by the end of the year, because of all of this silver that's needed in mass, it's going to be a lot more than what it was previously due to all of this industrial and manufacturing systems that we've now put in place, like AI, for example, robots, drivable cars, electric vehicles, solar panels, renewable energy, AI chips, for example. The list is endless, for example. So think about the type of stock that you want to invest in, whether it's gold, silver, or whether it's literally a mining stock or a healthcare stock, because healthcare is always needed, for example. And there are some, I'm going to do some talks, because I specialize in healthcare for 35 years. I am going to be doing some talks about healthcare stocks, okay, because these are safe ones. They're not like you're spending loads of money. It's just a small amount that you're paying each month, and it builds up into something for when it's your pension time, for example, or whenever you need to have it, you know, to draw down on it, for example. But always look at things as a 5-10 year plan, really, in order to really get the benefits from that. And I always remember my cousin Sharon, many years ago when I was in my 20s, she was doing this. She was we're both in our 20s, and she was doing this. She was saving so much each month, for example, and then in 10 years time she got a big chunk of money which paid for her son's university, for example, and things like that. So always look at these as a safe bet, but also a long-term plan, for example. So imagine, right, so like I said, my cousin, for example, she got like, I think it was about 100 grand she got back from savings. Also, there's another person that I know that puts money aside each month, and then after 10 years they got a large chunk of payment, and they were able to buy a property, and one of them was here in Cyprus, for example. Okay, so the next thing is that to think about, you have to be looking at the world's silver production. It's going to be depleting in 20 years time if they don't find any new mines and discoveries. Now, I believe that they are out there. It's just they've got to find them, then it's got to be mined, and then that takes time. It's not a quick thing, for example. So think about, is there any mining stocks that you can watch and go for example? Because that's another thing that I'm going to be going through, some mining stocks and some healthcare stocks, as well as gold and silver, physical gold and silver. And there is a link here which I've got as the Bullion. That's a very reputable company, for example. You can click that link, and they've got all different types of gold and silver, for example. And I'm an affiliate, and I do get paid a small percentage, for example, but you'll see that they're in the description, for example. Check them out. Check out what the prices are so that you can see for yourself. And another way, and this is the best way, as well, even though those are good, don't get me wrong, they are good. I try and look at all different types of ways to create gold and silver, for example. So another way is what I did in 2007, where I did gold parties, where I did gold and silver, and it was scrap gold and silver. It was like broken jewelry. It was like a broken chain. People would bring, to the host that was hosting the party. They would bring their old jewelry that they didn't want anymore, that was no good to them. They'd lost an earring, so they only had one left, for example. Things like that, or an earring back, or a piece of chain that was broken, for example. And they would bring their jewelry, and me and my husband, we would weigh the jewelry. We would test it to make sure it was real, for example. Then we would look at back then we had a newspaper, look at what the spot prices were for that day, for example. And then we would offer at a 30% less than what the spot price was, for example, because it was broken jewelry, for example. So that, I think, is so amazing, because you can, if you know people, you can ask them if they could hold a gold party, for example, and then you just say, I'll bring the wine, you do the nibbles, like the crisp and peanuts or whatever, or you bring them as well as your scales and your acid test and your eye loops and things like that. You'd bring that along, and they would have about 10-20 people at the host party, for example. So it would really be a fun evening, for example. And then you'd come out with a bag of gold or a bag of silver, or both. You'd separate it, of course. And then, say after 3 months, you would then take it to a refinery and get it melted into, I used to get them melted into gold bars, or silver bars, for example. Now, that is a really fun way of doing gold and silver. You've got it physically, you can see it, you've had it smelted down at a refinery, for example. They've given you the piece of paper to say, yes, it's authentic, and it's 9999, the number 9s to say it's pure gold, for example. And it really is a fun way of doing that, just once a month, so imagine you getting gold at 30% less, or silver 30% less than what the spot price is. You would not get that on eBay. And yes, I used to buy off of eBay auctions. I used to do that quite often, for example, but I also did the gold parties as well, for example, and I was able to create my gold and silver bars as well. Okay, so just that's one thing that I'm starting to get back into again, and we are going to be having a training on how to start your own gold silver scrap business, because it is an amazing thing to do, especially during this time. Okay, and I believe everyone's got a piece of broken jewelry, for example. So check out the free guide here. It's in the description. Just download the free guide. Okay, and what I'd love for you to also do, if you have got if you are interested in creating your own scrap gold party, and if you want to, if literally you can turn like $500, for example, into 5,000 through scrap gold I'm referring to. So subscribe to the button. But if you're interested in having a scrap gold business for yourself, then do book a free 15-minute appointment with me, and I'll go through with you what it is all about. But I'm also going to be discussing it here on YouTube as well. But I'm here to really show you the different aspects that you can do to create the inflation buster. For example, if you're in business, I mentioned from September last year that we need to, even before, any budgets and, prime ministers came into place, I said there's going to, I just felt that the talk was already there. The inflation is going to be happening, for example. And I was saying about we need to start planning for before it hits us. And, about how saving so much each month helps you in your business, for example. Whether you're in business or whether you're an individual, you still need to look at these strategies that's going to help you to thrive in your business. You don't want to get caught out like how I did in the recession in 2008 when I had my business. So this is a buster that can really help you in your business if you plan it right and use the correct strategies. So I do have a link here. So if you want to book a free 15-minute appointment, it's free, doesn't cost you anything. Book a free consultation with me and I'll go through with you, for example, about scrap gold, for example. Maybe you can join our training as well, which starts next month. And we're going to be doing this monthly because I believe so strongly in it. And I'm going to be showing you how to do the parties, how to, weigh things, how to test all of these things, how to melt and smelt or take your gold or silver to a refinery company, for example. So think about what is your need. Do you prefer silver, gold, or do you prefer both? Or you're going to go with the silver because it's cheaper, as you know, maybe you don't know. Silver is $35 for an ounce, whereas gold is $3,000 for an ounce. See, it's gone up quite a bit, really. So I believe, though, because of the demand for silver, is going to be like the tortoise that won the race, because the demand is more for silver than what it is for gold. So that means that it's going to become scarcity because of the mines are, depleting, for example, on a daily basis because of all of the usage that is happening beyond normal, for example, because there's everyone's on this race, aren't they? It's like as if to say they're racing to land on the moon, but really they're racing to create all of these different things that is to do with silver. Imagine if they didn't have that silver, they would not be billionaires, for example. To lose the silver is like their kryptonite, that they're not going to be as strong as what they would be with the silver. But us as people should also get gold and silver. Don't just leave it up to the billionaires and the larger organizations. Especially if you're in business, then it is something that you should be doing, on a monthly basis, is so that you've got your crisis plan. It's about crisis building, but also it's about if there's a problem in your business, you're then able to draw money out from your business to help support the business as much as possible. For example, if you are working for an organization and you want to build your portfolio, then you put so much aside each month and you look at the long-term plan, for example, of 10 years for it to grow and see it grow. And imagine you're getting, 8% a year or 10% a year. It adds up. I know it seems like it's like a tortoise kind of thing, but remember, the tortoise won the race. So tell me what you think in the comments, because I'd love to hear your views. Do you buy gold and silver? Have you looked at the different mines? Has anyone visited a mine? Yesterday I talked about Australia, Kalgoorlie, for example. We've got a relative that works there, for example, in the mine, and it's amazing what the town has done for one another. It really is. They've built a community. It just wasn't about the money. It was about building a community. And I think that's so beautiful, rather than just, grab and run kind of thing. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's discussion about Peru. Do book a free 15-minute appointment with me, Christine. My name is Christine Crowell, and thank you so much for your subscriptions, should I say subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your comments, because, it's good to hear how people are doing things, because at the end of the day, we want to help each other to grow as well, and not just, wait for our pension to come and then it's not enough. And then we're then thinking we're short. So then we got to live hand to mouth, watch how much we spend each month, go without things and go without heating, and we shouldn't have to do that. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's discussion and today's video, and I would love to hear your thoughts about what you think about building your own reserves, because you can build your own reserves, even if it is a 5-10 year plan. Imagine you've got children, and you've got children that are little, and you put so much away each month, like what my cousin did. And then 10 years later, 100,000. Amazing. It can be done. Just got to have that stamina and that discipline to keep doing that. And I'm not saying to put everything in. You put small amounts in that's affordable, that's not going to cause a problem for you, for example. Because this is the way forward, because we do not know what we're going to get in 10 years' time. We don't know what the cash value is going to be in 10 years' time. But with gold and silver, it holds its value. And if you've got it in your hands, then it is like liquid gold. It's liquid cash, I mean. It holds its value and more. They're saying that gold, according to the experts, is going to be like 5,000 per ounce. Then 10,000 per ounce. Then 15,000 per ounce. So now is the time to start thinking about buying these things before it's too late, before it's unaffordable. But with silver, you can purchase silver for $35 per ounce, for example. And even silver is going to go up. Some experts say 800. Some are saying 2,000 in the next couple of years, for example, because of the usage and the manufacturing. Is going to create this surge. That's why you hear President Trump talking about drill baby drill, because they want to find these mines and drill. But let's look at us buying some gold and silver. Do a scrap gold party if you don't have loads of cash to spend that way. And start off small, step by step, like what we did. We didn't throw like thousands at scrap gold to begin with. We started off very small. And $500 turned into $5,000 from scrap gold. Put it into a gold bar, and it turned out, and this was in 2007. And yes, the prices have gone up quite a lot, but it's still doable. Start with silver. If you can't afford the gold, start with silver, because that is going up slow. It is slow, but we're in it for the long haul. We're not in it for a get rich quick scheme. We're in it for time, for it to grow. Just like a tree grows, we plant that seed. We're not digging that seed up every day to see what the roots are like, are we? We plant that seed deep into the soil, and we nurture it, don't we? We water it, or a flower, for example, we nurture it, and then that tree grows over time, and it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. But yet it started off as a small seed, for example, or a shrub, for example, and then it's got really strong trunks, and it's just grown into something amazing. Just like the tree of life, I believe, is in Disney, for example. Don't quote me on that, I may have got the name wrong, but it starts from the beginning, and then it grows, and then it's got branches on it, and those branches are the loved ones or family members that you want to support with your building of your wealth, for example. Or maybe you've got a pension that you want to feel secure, so that you've got that top up. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's live, and join me tomorrow as I go into deeper things. I'm going into another country tomorrow. So today we visited Peru, and I've talked about the mining, and how when we look at different mines, there's stocks that we can get from the miners. But don't go for the small miners, you've got to go for the big companies, for example. Visit these events, because you will be amazed and you'll learn from them as well. Okay, so they're all around the world, so it's something that you've got to go and see and check out for yourself. If you need to seek legal advice, then seek a financial advisor so that they can guide you as well. For example, stay tuned, because I am going live every day. I'm talking every day. I'm uploading a video daily as well. So do stay tuned, because I think it's important, especially at this time, for me to really talk about how you can increase your wealth in a more structured way, for example. So thank you so much for joining me today. I've really appreciated you taking your time out, and I hope that you've enjoyed today's live, and hit like and subscribe. Thank you for your likes, by the way. I do appreciate that. And thank you for watching as well, and subscribe, because this helps YouTube to get this out to more people, so that you also get notified as well. And I just can't wait to share more with you, because I've got a lot to give especially when it comes to the gold and silver. That's my speciality. The healthcare stocks, I'm going to be going through that with you, but it's going to be the safe ones, for example, and also the scrap gold business, how profitable that is. I'm going to be going through some videos for that as well, so please stay tuned, and I want to be able to share this with you. So thank you everyone, and have a wonderful evening or wonderful day, afternoon or morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining me today, and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Take care. Bye.